So I think it was like last week or a week ago, I was tagged in a post by two YouTube channels. The first one was Black Country Woodsman, and the second was Johnny Outdoors. I think I've got that right. I'll put all the links and whatnot in the description below. And it was that you had to choose 5 favourite items from Bushcraft. So these are my 5 favourite items. So my first favourite item, it's definitely got to be the Mora companion. I've had it now for, I don't know, about a year or so, maybe a little bit longer. And in that time I've sharpened it, resharpened it, sharpened it, and it's just always stayed true of its edge. I recently took a grinder to it, and it's made it incredibly even more sharper, would you believe, which is incredible really. I wasn't expecting that, and I took the tip off because I was too busy cutting myself with it. And I also put a good sort of scratching edge on there for the ferro rod, which doesn't work, which is a shame, but it still does what it does. It's just a good old Mora companion, and I made this little leather sheath for it that slips in the end there, and that sits in there fine. It just disguises the fact that it is a Mora knife, and it's got a nice little protective cover. So that's Bushcraft item number 1. The second one is a Wilkinson sword woodsman axe, and this was given to me by a friend down at the school. His name's Les, and he collects metal, and a lot of the metal that he collects picks up like things like axes, knives, and all kinds of things. Anyway, I put a call out, and he said I can give you one of mine, and he gave me this one. And when I got it, it was in quite a rough state. The black here was all over the blade, and there was lots of pitting. I've sanded it down and given it a new bit of lease of life. The hammer end was pretty bashed up, which it still is, but I don't mind that too much. It still works as a hammer, as you would have seen in other videos. And I took a grinder to this as well because there was a big shoulder on the blade and it wasn't cutting very well. But now it's relatively quite sharp. It just needs a bit of a grind every now and then, I think. But it's much tidier now, and it does what it's supposed to do, and it's quite sharp. None of my tools are razor sharp, but they do the job, what they're supposed to do, and that's axe wood. So there's that one. That's Bushcraft item number 2. This is a little leather sheath head that I made for it, and that just slips on there just to protect fingers and everything else. Bushcraft item number 3 is this little pouch. Now in my Instagram photo you will notice that there was a little strop that I added in there, but really it's this whole pack, and it's got my Mora carving knife there with a little leather sheath on top, because they're wickedly sharp, these things. That's the strop that you've seen. It's just a little travel strop with a little bit of auto sole paste that I put on there. And that's the hook knife, or the spoon knife, and there's a little leather sheath on there because that's wickedly sharp as well. And I made this little thing for it, which is brilliant, and that just sits in my bag nicely without having to rip or chew everything up. I made a little buckle thing that goes through there. Bushcraft item number 4 is a ferro rod that a friend over in America made. His name's Justin Gure, and he made me this and sent me it over, and there's a antler horn for a handle, and you got one of these big fatty ferro rods which are, well, that lasts probably longer than me, I'd imagine, but that's perfect, that works well. You can see that in most of my other videos. And the next one, the last one, number 5, is a Tinder pouch that I made for it, for my gear. There's not much tinder in there because I've used it on the fire for today, but it's a good size to collect everything in there. It keeps everything dry, and that just stays in my bag all the time, and before I come out I just load it up. It's got a nice drawstring, some wooden toggles, and that's that. So that is my 5 favourite Bushcraft items. Roasting pine. So it's basically, I'm sure that they're probably related to each other, aren't they, pine and rosemary? Quite close. By the look of it. I mean, it's got like really thin needles.
I know that they're both coniferous. Jesus Christ, It's the saltiest thing I've ever eaten, other than that fish once. I put so much salt on it, it was like an icing.
Was it?
I didn't eat. I just grabbed hands under the twigs. Oh. If my hands are like wet, probably wouldn't be that bad. Just touch it very briefly.
It's cool, it makes nice sparks and stuff.
I have to get in front of it. I want to move this a bit. Legs are definitely the strongest thing. It's going to keep falling.
Just want to give a big thanks and big appreciation of all my new subscribers. Over the last sort of, what must be 2-3 weeks, I've got over 100 and something, and that's like probably the fastest my channel's grown. So I just want to say a massive hello to everybody that's subscribed. There's something like 125 subscribers in less than a month, which is phenomenal growth for me. I'm quite taken back by it, really. So thanks for coming along, and thanks for joining me in the woodland, because it's a really nice place. there's lots of new things going to be built here. I'm going to extend the shelter behind me. I'm going to put a bit more to the back of the camera where you are there, just make it a little bit more homely. I'm going to move the fire and things like that, but that's all going to come over the weeks. So I expect to see some longer diaries soon. This is just a quick video today, so yeah, so thanks for joining me.
When we come up here, that'd be cool, I think.